Holy is the ultimate gamer. He's earned that name.
Holyone.
A great guy, and his videos are fantastic.
What's to do, YouTube? It's Holyone, and these are going to be my top 10 most disappointing games of 2021. And to start off at number 10, we have Knockout City, a game that came out on PlayStation Plus that I played on the PlayStation 5. It's a unique looking kind of title with like basketball multiplayer and like a area you can jump around on the map. Unfortunately, what makes this game disappointing is the gameplay itself is very boring and repetitive to me. The art style is okay. So overall, it wasn't a game that I was very interested in. However, it's not a terrible game, but if you guys are interested in trying it out, I believe it is free to play, so you could try it for yourself. But overall, I didn't find it very good at all. At number 9, we have Persona 5 Strikers, which I completed and beat on the PlayStation. The PlayStation 5 version is coming out with PS Plus next month. I'm going to try it again. I beat it on PC. Now, this game isn't bad, not at all. I'd say it's about a 7 out of 10. But what was disappointing to me is the story, because, you know, a lot of people say Persona is all about the stories. The story felt like a re-copy and paste of Persona 4, with the detective being, you know, oh, I lost my child and all this sort of thing, spoiler-free. But overall, the story was pretty mid. The gameplay can get pretty repetitive. What keeps the game going for me was the kind of stealth elements they added. So if you guys could pick this game up for maybe $15 or $20, I would say it's worth playing then. Not a terrible game by any means, but the story is very mid, and the gameplay can get quite repetitive. But they did add a new character to the story as well. So overall, it is about a 7 out of 10, but it was pretty disappointing to me since I go into Persona to enjoy the story on top of the gameplay. At number 8, we have The Medium. Now, The Medium released on Xbox Game Pass. I played it and beat it on my Xbox Series S. What was hugely disappointing about this game is it launched with some graphical issues, glitches, and severe frame rate drops on the series consoles and PC if you turned on ray tracing. The game looks good in certain areas, and other areas it doesn't. The story is okay. It's not terrible. It's not mid. It's decent. What made the game not terrible, and on my top 10 worst games list, is the story was actually decent, and I like the whole kind of split between realities. That was really cool. But overall, it is a pretty disappointing game. But if you guys have Game Pass, you can play it there. It did recently release on PlayStation 5, and they have patched the performance issues out of the game. And it does have some ray tracing on consoles now. So if you can get it for like $10 or $15, or if you can get it on Game Pass, it's definitely worth checking out if you want to play it. At number 7, we have Origami II. Now, this game came to Game Pass day 1. I downloaded it and played it on my Series console. And it is boring, repetitive, and not that great. You guys can look at the reviews from reviewers. Reviewers are giving it like 5s and 6s, and that's about where it stands. So I'd say if you get it for $5 or $10, maybe try it out then. It might still be on Game Pass, so if you want to try it that way, you can. But overall, it is not worth paying the full price game. Now, there can be some fun had here. That's why it's not a terrible game. It's just not a game for me and not a game I would enjoy playing. At number 6, we have The Ascent. Now, The Ascent, pretty game. It's got ray tracing. It runs great. But what it falls short on is it has some very repetitiveness to it. It's got some very repetitiveness to the boss fights that make it extremely annoying. And that's what holds this game back from being good. It's just a huge disappointment, and that is unfortunate. I really wanted to enjoy this game. But if you guys want to maybe try for yourself, it is on Game Pass. Maybe if you can get it for $10, $15, it might be worth a try. And if you can get through all that repetitiveness and grind that the game's bosses and gameplay has, then there is somewhat of a decent game here. But unfortunately, it falls short, and that's what is on my top 10 most disappointing games list. At number 5, we have Cris Tales. Now, unfortunately, Cris Tales was on my top 10 games of 2020, and it fell short. what got me attracted to this game was the visual style, the art style, and the sort of interesting combat where you can like bend time to do different aspects. Unfortunately, the game falls short on that. It's short, it's repetitive, it's boring, and it's uninteresting. That's where it falls short. And if you want, it's on Game Pass. You can play it that way. It is not worth the full price. And that's a shame because I was really hyped for this game, but it kind of fell short for this year. At number 4, we have It Takes Two. Now, there's nothing wrong with It Takes Two, except the controls in the game are horrendous. I tried playing co-op with my brother, and the game's controls are atrocious. We kept falling, crashing, dying. We could not get the game to have responsive controls. That's the only issue with the game, and that's why it was a huge disappointment, because we really wanted to play and beat this game, but the controls kept us from doing so. At number 3, we have Necromundo Hired Gun. Now, when I saw the gameplay for this game, I thought it might be kind of like Doom with the arcadey shooting style, or maybe like Duke Nukem. Boy, was I wrong. I bought this game on launch day on Steam. It had severe stuttering issues. It was super repetitive. It looked nice, but other than that, it's not worth more than $10. And I think it's on Game Pass right now, and that's probably where you should play it. But if you guys like repetitive, shooters like this game, definitely check it out. At number 2, we have Biomutant. And I feel like this game was a disappointment to everybody, most people. Now, what makes this game interesting is it has a cool art style. It's got an interesting, intro story where you're playing as this animal, and it's a pretty looking game. However, where it falls short is the gameplay. It just lacks core gameplay that would make it great. And I feel like if they do release a sequel, they need to improve on that gameplay. Just make a whole overhaul of the gameplay. So I paid $5 for it, and I think that's what it's worth. And at number 1, we have Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Now, I'm sure this is going to hurt the feelings of a lot of Sony fanboys, but what this game does right is the gameplay is fine, the visuals are stunning. Where it falls short is the world's empty. You could get lost very easily. The gameplay gets repetitive over time, and I guess it's difficult for people, but I didn't find the game hard whatsoever. And that's a real shame because I was really looking forward to this game. But it definitely wasn't on my alley, so that's my number 1 most disappointed game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is your boy Holyone. Oh!